This podcast contains graphic descriptions that some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Now, with that being said, welcome to the Mortal Musings podcast.
Right, let's do this. So, you know how I'm fascinated with nature?
Yeah.
Found out a very interesting fact.
Okay.
Turtles breathe through their arseholes.
Where are you getting this information from?
Facebook, I think, or Google. I can't remember. I was doing, just going down a wormhole, and found out turtles breathe through their arseholes.
Okay, I've just looked it up. There are some turtles that do it. It's like a form of gas exchange when they're hibernating. So you're not talking complete bollocks this time. Did you know that turtles scream when they're having sex?
No.
Yeah? Look it up. That could be the same as you, though. That could just be there's this one type of turtle that does it.
But they breathe through their arseholes. Why aren't you more upbeat about this?
Oh, what do you mean by upbeat?
It's fucking hilarious.
Is it? Do they whistle?
What?
Do they whistle?
What, are their arseholes?
Yeah, well, they can breathe through their arseholes.
I don't know. I just thought I'd share that with the class. I do know some things.
I'm guessing you didn't learn that from David Attenborough now.
No.
No. That's a little bit too lowbrow for Sir David.
Before we start, got 2 shout outs to do. We've got two new patrons. We've got Camron, and we've got Craig.
Or is it Craig? Because he's American.
No, I fucking asked him. It's Craig.
Yeah, but are you sure though? Because this was over text, wasn't it?
No, well, no.
You could be saying absolutely yes, it's Craig, and you're like, see, he's saying it's Craig.
No, I sent him a voice message, and he replied, the first one.
Okay. I've heard Americans say Craig a lot rather than Craig.
Yeah, but I think that's more slang.
What do you mean it's more slang? It's a name.
I don't think it... No, it is. It's Craig.
I tell you what I'm hugely basing this on.
Friday.
No. Malcolm in the Middle. There was a character in that called Craig.
Never watched it.
What?
Never watched it.
But you have. I know you're not mad about it, but I would watch it quite a lot. And when I was watching it, I don't know, a year or so back, you said it was shite, but I could see you kept looking at the screen, kept laughing and stuff. So you do actually like it.
That wasn't me.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, thank you to them guys.
Yeah, we got a bit strayed a little bit there, but
we've got some Patreon content out now.
We do indeed.
It's not the best.
Neil, it's I really admire how much confidence and faith you have in yourself. It's beautiful.
So, if you're interested in hearing me tell Megan a case, there's not as many facts as what Megan would tell me. I think I hit the main points.
Apart from any form of a timeline, but yeah, it is hard though to tell a case yourself. It is a bit nerve-wracking to first do it.
It's even harder when you can't read. So, what we're doing today?
So this week we're doing something a little bit different. It is a animal attack.
Okay, I'll stop you there. Animal attack, yes, very interested in.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point saying doing something a little bit different.
What do you mean?
You've done medieval torture. You've done serial killers. You've done a serial rapist. You've done fucking human taxidermy. You've done pirate shit. Pirate punishments. Magic tricks gone wrong. So there's no point saying...
Well, thank you. I take this as a compliment. There's a bit of variety there. Thank you. Okay, well, we're going to be doing our first case of an animal attack.
Can I guess the animal?
Yes.
Grizzly bear.
No.
Cheetah.
No.
Dog.
No.
Cat.
No, that's just within our household and I'm savage every other fucking day. We're going to be talking about an attack from a chimp.
Okay.
I like how you seem lower energy at the thought of a chimp. They're fucking beasts. They'll rip you limb from limb.
No, but I love monkeys.
But you can love a chimp, but I mean, it's still a very powerful animal.
You
like bears.
I do. I love bears. But
they'll kill you as soon as they look at you.
Yeah, but like with monkeys, like if we were to get married, I want a chimp as my best man.
Okay, well, after getting to this story, you're not gonna.
Okay.
Also, a chimp is an ape.
What?
A chimp is an ape. I don't want to be that guy and correct you, but a chimp is an ape.
I said chimp.
You said monkey.
I said chimp. And a chimp is my best man.
You said monkey.
What?
A chimp, yeah?
Yeah.
Is an ape.
Yes.
Not a monkey. I don't want to be that guy, but if I don't say it to you, I feel like someone's going to come at you and be like, Neil, excuse me.
Okay, so what did the chimp do? Well, he attacked someone.
He did. We'll get to that part. Hold your fucking horses. Have you ever heard of Travis the chimp?
Is he one of them from PG Tips adverts?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
Someone English is going to love that reference.
I used to love that ad. It was my favourite ad growing up.
It was a good ad. It was a good one.
And now it's all AI bollocks. So, what happened with Travis?
Travis was born on the 21st of October 1995 to parents Susie and Coco. His parents had been brought over to the US from Africa in the 1970s to live at Mike and Connie Braun Casey's compound, which is now named the Missouri Chimpanzee Sanctuary and is located in Festus, Missouri. No idea if I'm pronouncing that right. Now, this place was not great to say the least. The conditions of Mike and Connie's compound were said to have been dire. Now, as far as I'm aware, Mike had stepped away from the business over the years, and it was continued on by Connie and others. Now, the thing about this place is that it wasn't really a sanctuary.
Thing is, it's going to be in bad condition, because they're just chucking shit everywhere. That's what they do.
But they're animals, you need to care for them. You need to have a high standard.
Yeah, but they're also vicious, so you can't...
But you know what you could do if you're not up for the challenge? Don't have them.
Well, I don't know why they've got them in the first place. Do people come and view them? Or do they sell them? Or are they breeders?
They sell them. They use them for entertainment purposes. They
like
breed
PG
them.
Tips?
Yes.
Okay.
They will use them for all different varieties of income.
Mm.
So, like I said, this wasn't really a sanctuary, it was her home. Chimpanzees were kept in cages in the house, in the basement, and there was also additional builds made to her home to house the animals. Within her home, 2 chimpanzees were living in a converted bedroom, with no direct access to the outside. And I assume these 2 chimps were more so her pets, who lived in the house with her.
Yeah, so saying they haven't got direct access to outside, it sounds bad, but it's like Ty, our indoor cat. He doesn't know what he's missing because...
But Neil, this is a much bigger animal that needs more exercise. Ty has stuff in the house where he can jump up and down, and he also plays with the dog. You know, he's getting exercised. I assume these were cutesy. These ones are my pets compared to the others, like you said, that were used for entertainment,
got one
breeding.
In a schoolboy cap and another one in a ballerina dress.
Probably. Fucking probably. Now, like we said, the conditions weren't great. The chimps were living among their own waste, and there was also infestations of roaches and flies.
Sounds like our work.
Dogs were also present on the property, and they were allowed to roam around, and understandably, as dogs do, they barked.
Yeah.
So that's going to cause agitation with the chimps. They're getting barked at. The dogs are, lunging at the cages, getting hyped up. It's not fucking fair on them. There's also the case of Tonka, the chimp who came from Connie's compound. Tonka can be seen starring in various movies such as George of the Jungle and Buddy.
I've seen George at Jungle.
You'll have to watch it back for Tonka.
I don't remember a chimp. There's a gorilla.
Well, there's also a chimp, apparently.
I don't remember a chimp. Is this the one with your man in it? You one who you like with blonde hair, who's in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
That was Tarzan, wasn't it?
No, George at Jungle. That watch out for that tree. And then he'd splat into a tree.
I'll take your word for it. I don't fucking remember. Now, after this compound received a lawsuit from PETA, Tanya Haddocks was someone who came in and took over the care of several of the chimps. Tanya was also a caretaker for Tonka at the time, and she told the courts that Tonka had died and had since been cremated. Now, this Tanya is a little bit of a character. Interesting character.
Okay. Eccentric?
Just, a little bit out there, I would say. One quote from her was, "Honey, I've been held in contempt of court 3 times. So, she doesn't give a fuck. She looks at it as just another day at the office.
Yeah.
When she spoke about the person who had recorded phone calls with her and then sent them to PETA, she said, "I feel sorry for the person that did that. And not because I'm threatening them in any shape or fashion, but whoever it is will be publicised all over social media, so they will be desecrated in that shape and fashion."
Oh.
It's a bit full on, isn't it? Alan Cumming, who had worked with Tonka during the filming of Buddy, said, "Tonka and I developed a very close camaraderie during the months when we filmed. By the end of the shoot, his trainers let him groom me. It was a special friendship, one I'll always treasure. I hoped to see Tonka the following year at the film's premiere, but was told that he was no longer manageable and had to be retired to Palm Springs. Over the past 20 years, I imagined him living out his post-Hollywood years on a sprawling sanctuary." Unfortunately, the reality was that Tonka hadn't actually died. Tonka was alive and living in the basement in a cage.
Why did she lie?
They didn't want these animals being took off them.
Oh, okay.
And you kind of hear it in a lot of cases like this where they're like, oh, like say it was Tonka. Oh, but Tonka's different. Tonka's not like any other chimp.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, fuck off. Like, you think it's best for him to be caged in a fucking basement?
Well, look at Caesar in Planet of Apes.
Look at Caesar. See what happened there? Now, luckily, Tonka was rescued from the situation. Tonka is now 32 and is currently living at Save the Chimps in Florida, living his best life.
Missouri to Florida? I don't know if that's an upgrade or not.
There is, I'll link it. There's a little profile on Tonka and Save the Chimps, so you can read about what he likes to do, how he spends his time. I think it even lists who his mates are.
I love chimps.
Have you ever heard of Connor the Chimp?
No. I've heard of Charles, not Connor.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Hallmark made cards that featured a chimp on the front with a big dirty grin on his face.
Yes.
Yeah, that is Connor the Chimp. He also came from Connie's compound.
Okay. How, when you were doing this research, you probably didn't notice this. Like, is it decent money?
For them.
Like, is it profitable for them because of how expensive it is to look after them?
That's what I was about to say. They're definitely making fucking bank with this. But I think that's why so many of them have such shitty living conditions for them. They get greedy. They realise how expensive it is. They'll cut corners here and there and just bank the rest of the money. So during a photo shoot for Hallmark in 2004, Connor became agitated, leading him to bite his trainer, flip tables, and also attempt to attack others who were present on the set. I'm not quite sure what triggered him or if it was just overall built up stress and he just, no.
Different environment, flash photography.
Yeah. But it goes to show people are buying these like, oh, look at this card, it's so fucking cute. And it's like, yeah, but how did we get that product?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Could be flash photography because there's a lot of different animals when you're at the zoo and they're like, no flash photography. Don't do it.
Yeah. I don't like having my photo taken. I get a bit agitated myself. So getting back to Travis's story. At just 3 days old, Travis was taken away from his mother and sold for $50,000 to Sandra and Jerome Harold to live with them as their pet. And just like Neil, Sandra was a bit of a fan of the old country music. That's where Travis actually got his name from. It was a dedication to Sandra's favourite country music singer, Travis Tritt.
Twit?
Tritt.
Oh, don't know that one.
But you do know Travis Twitt.
No.
So, seeing as Travis was raised within a human household, he was said to have been very well socialised with humans. You know, he'd spent his whole life with his owner Sandra and Jerome as well as their daughter Susan. It was all he knew. Even as far as one of their neighbours, he would actually spend time with Travis. He would wrestle with him. And he commented on how well behaved Travis was.
He'd wrestle with a fucking chimp.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But he commented on how well behaved Travis was, and he said that he always knew when to stop. He never took it too far. And if Sandra was to call him, tell him to stop, what have you, he would always listen and obey her commands. He also commented that Travis listens better than my nephews.
I can believe that.
Your nephews might have been little shits. Is there much of a meter to compare to?
Yeah, I can believe that. Like, I've got a cousin, at 4 years old, he was expelled from 2 play schools and barred from a pub for fighting, and he'd just sit there chewing toilet roll.
Anyway, Travis would even accompany his owners when they left the home. And this could be, running errands, doing the shopping, or going to work with them. The couple owned a towing company, and Travis was sort of a mascot for the business. He would pose for photographs with customers, and he would also travel in the tow truck with them.
I'd love that. If someone showed up to help me and they've got when they show up and they've got a dog sat in the passenger seat.
Oh, I love that.
Imagine if they had a chimp just sat there, resting their arm on fucking...
Well, this is the thing. Everyone around did love it. Like, Travis became a bit of a local celebrity because of this. You know what I mean? I'm not 100% sure on this one. It was reported, but I've seen people say it wasn't actually him. But it was said that he did star in an advertisement for Pepsi and also appeared on the Maury Povich show.
Never watched this show, but everyone seems to be all about him.
Maury? You never watched Maury?
No.
I was obsessed with it. I fucking always watched that years ago.
I remember when he was on How I Met Your Mother, and I was like, who's he? And you was like, what?
I don't even remember that. I must have blocked it out. I thought, now to look back, you go, this is awful. Like Jerry Springer go, why did we allow this? But, at the time, it was some good TV.
Jeremy Kyle?
Yeah, see, I never liked Jeremy Kyle. I didn't like it. But you always said, no, but you gotta understand, I'm watching, my people. Do you remember?
Right, now fucking hang on a minute. I weren't saying...
How many cousins of yours were featured on that?
Fucking none.
Oh, it was just aunties and uncles, yeah. Do you know Jeremy Kyle did an American version?
Yes.
I don't think it ever really took off.
No.
He seems like a dick anyway, doesn't he?
Well, he can't talk to them like he talks to the British ones, because they'll just pull a gun out.
He's full-on abusive. Yeah. We might actually do an episode about the drama of that show, because there's some...
Yeah.
But again, getting back to Travis. Travis was also a fairly independent fella. He was able to use a key to unlock doors. He would water the plants. He would feed the horses that Sandra kept. He could use a computer, use the remote for the television. Baseball was his favourite thing to watch. He could dress himself, and he was also said to have driven a car on several occasions.
Could he wipe his own ass?
I assume so, yeah. He would sit up at the table to eat, and that included drinking from a long-stemmed wine glass. He's a fancy fella. Yeah, he's a fancy fella, isn't he?
Wait, long-stemmed wine glass is champagne glass?
Well, the way you can get more tumbler-style wine glasses, what hipsters use nowadays?
You?
No, I use a wine glass.
Yours is a stumpy one.
No, I'm classy. I have a long-stemmed glass. No, but yeah, a wine glass, a long-stemmed glass.
Okay.
Maybe it was redundant me saying both. I'm sorry. I've clearly ruined this episode. Now, Travis was a hooer for the ice cream. He was reported to have learned the schedule of the ice cream man. But his love of ice cream came at a cost. Travis weighed over 200 pounds, putting him into the category of obese.
See, you should be able to sympathise with him. I watched you the other night with Ben and Jerry's.
Inhaled it.
I thought you were going to eat the cardboard. You was trying to pick chocolate off of the carton and it was the picture.
All right, calm down. Neil eats, I'm not even joking.
You say
probably,
I inhale.
You do. You probably eat at 4 times the speed that I do. You're really fast eating, but when it comes to ice cream, no. Mine is, if we both had a carton of ice cream, you'd be scraping the surface and I'd be scraping the fucking bottom.
Yeah, well, a carton I wouldn't be able to do in one go, ever.
Easy.
Yeah, I know you would.
I could eat a carton of ice cream every single day.
It'd take me at least, the very least, 4 portions.
That is outrageous. Grow up. Now, in the year 2000, Sandra's daughter Susan was killed in a car accident. And just 4 years later, her husband Jerome died of cancer.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so she's had a tough life. She's had some tragedies. And because of this, Sandra really latched on to Travis.
So that's probably making it even unhealthier for the chimp.
Yes, exactly. She pretty much regarded him as her adoptive son, even going as far as sleeping in the same bed as him and bathing with him.
Ooh.
Quote, "Until you've eaten with a chimp and bathed with a chimp, you don't know a chimp."
I don't want to know a chimp, if that's what it means.
Exactly. I'm all right with just being acquaintances with a chimp.
Wait, so she was naked in a bath?
I don't know if she was naked. She might have been in a swimsuit or something. I don't know.
Still inappropriate.
I think it's still a little bit odd, yes, but that's where it went. I mean, I'm going to take a guess she wasn't in the best mental state after her husband and child dying, but
no excuse.
Well, I would I'd hope someone would have stepped in to help her, but you know.
Yeah.
Now, in 2003, Sandra was travelling in her car with Travis as her passenger when someone walking down the street decided it'd be a great idea to throw an empty drink can through the window, hitting Travis.
No, I do. No, because I'm just picturing the fucking monkey's face.
Travis... Well...
I was just going to say the fucking idiot.
Well, why would you do it?
Must have been pissed up.
Travis, agitated by this, unbuckles his seatbelt because he's a responsible fella, gets out of the car and begins chasing down the person who threw the can.
Oh, he's fucked then.
No, the guy did get away.
Lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah, but the police were still called to try and contain the situation. So the police show up and they proceed to try and contain Travis within the car. Apparently, they would get him into the car, close the door, and he'd just kind of scoot over to the other side, open the door and hop out, and then they'd be chasing him round the vehicle.
With Benny Hill music playing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fucking situation.
Fast forward it, and then Benny Hill music playing.
Yeah. Now, for the most part, this incident was just sort of fobbed off as like a one-off by the police. But it did trigger a new law that would come into effect in 2009 that will prohibit a person from owning a primate of more than £50 as a pet, as well as requiring a permit for exotic pets. But Sandra did have an exemption from this permit as she had owned Travis for so long.
See, I think that's where they went wrong. Well, she's exempt.
Yeah, I mean, especially...
It's an animal, like...
Well, the thing is, I understand exemptions and da-da-da, but because this incident triggered a cause for concern...
Yeah.
And a law being brought in, maybe no exemption?
Yeah.
So we're going to jump forward to 2009, on the 16th of February. Charla Nash, she was an employee of Sandra's. She was hired by Sandra to manage a deli that Sandra was planning to open, but I think that kind of got put in the back burner, and Charla would end up working for her doing, odd jobs and also answering the phone for a towing company. And as far as I'm aware, the two were also friendly. They become friends over the years. The reason Charla had been called over to help Sandra was that Travis had decided to rob Sandra's car keys and just piss off outside the house.
What, we were going to go and joyride?
Yeah, so that's what they were worried about, that Travis was just going to take the car and piss off. So with that, Charla arrived at about 3:40 p.m, and she tried to coax Travis back into the house with his favourite toy, which was a Tickle Me Elmo.
I remember them. It was an Elmo doll and you tickled it and it laughed and
wiggled about.
Yeah. Hence the name, Tickle Me Elmo.
When Travis turns and sees Charla holding his toy, he fucking loses it. He leaps on Charla and starts brutally attacking her. Now, remember, chimpanzees are fucking jacked as it is.
Shoot him.
And...
as soon as that attack started, I think they should have shot.
Well, like I said, chimpanzees they're a very strong animal.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Travis was a very big lad.
Yeah. Because they love to do the hammer fisting.
Yeah, there's brute force with an animal like this.
Oh, and then the feet are like hands, the grip.
Yeah, basically it's 4 hands,
Yeah.
beating the shite out of you. Nearly every bone in her face was broken during this frenzied attack. Travis had ripped off Charla's nose, her lips, her jaw, and, brace yourself, Neil, he had also ripped off her eyelids. Most of her scalp had also been torn away. He had pulled one of her hands off and the other hand was barely still attached. Now, during this, Sandra's panicking and she's thinking, holy fuck, what do I do?
Like, I know it sounds really harsh, me saying shoot him, but...
Well, Sandra is shitting a brick here because her friend is being mauled by this animal, but at the same stage, what is she to do? Obviously, she can't physically just pull Travis off. He's fucking massive chimp.
Yeah.
So, she obviously she doesn't want to hurt him either, but she has to.
Yeah.
So Sandra grabs a shovel and just starts smacking the shite out of Travis to try and get him off of Charla. He hardly even reacts to this. So Sandra's next move is to run into the house, grab a knife, and she plunges the blade into Travis's back. She would later say, "For me to do something like that, put a knife in him, was like putting one into myself." After this, Sandra runs to her car and locks herself in while she calls 911. While on the phone to emergency services, she tells them that she thinks Travis may have killed Charla. But as Charla is laid on the ground, she raises her arm in an effort to let them know that she's still alive and she needs some help.
Fucking hell.
Now, police arrive and Travis begins circling the car. He tries to get into the car, but the doors are locked.
So he's still on a frenzy?
Yeah, he's still very worked up, very agitated, and he's now been injured.
Yeah.
So he's going to be even worse. He tries to get into their car, but the doors are locked, and out of frustration, starts smashing the windows, just trying to gain entry into their car.
Yeah.
This is when police open fire, and Travis is shot multiple times. After Travis is hit, he goes back into Sandra's home, into his cage, and that is where he dies.
He went back to his cage.
Yeah. It's so fucking terrible and just sad all around. You know, it's how terrified must he have been in that moment, you know? An absolutely brutal, life-altering attack that Charla was put through. And on the other side of that, you have an animal that is scared, aggressive, and killed as a result of not being cared for in a correct environment.
Yeah. So she survived?
Charla does survive, yes.
Fucking hell.
So, following the vicious attack that Charla was subjected to, she's brought to the hospital where she would endure hours and hours of surgery, which would be carried out by multiple teams of surgeons. Charla's also said that she had contracted a disease from the attack, which meant her eyes had to be removed, leaving her permanently blind. Her jaw was able to be reattached, and she would survive the attacks, like I said, and the subsequent surgeries, because bear in mind, she also has to go through all them surgeries. That's a risk as well. And it was reported that because her injuries were so severe, the staff who treat her at the hospital were all offered counselling.
Fucking hell. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Well, I mean, without sounding too just blunt, her face was ripped off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a shocking thing, and although working in a hospital you're going to see some shit, it's not every day you're going to come across that, is it? After her life-saving surgery, Charla was transported to Ohio, where she would undergo an experimental facial transplant. She also received a double hand transplant, but unfortunately it did not take. So, at this point, Charla's been through some horrific shit. She probably would hardly even know where she was. You know what I mean? It's a hell of a lot of trauma.
So she's suing.
Yeah. Charla said that her first memory after the attack was being in a room with her brother Mike. She asks him to turn on the lights, and he tells her that they are on. She said she went quiet for a moment before saying, "Well, I need to get maintenance up here because they sure aren't looking good." She has a sense of humour, but I mean, that's the moment that Charla realised she was blind as a result of the attack.
Yeah.
So if we take a look at why this happened, Travis was always kind of seen as, you know, innocent, happy, sweet. He was their pet. Also a powerful fucking animal, but...
Yeah.
It's thought that the reason for Travis's behaviour was because of the tragedies that the family had faced in the years prior. I'm sure the stress and probably emotional strain of Sandra relying so heavily on Travis, as if he were her own son, was not good for him. It wouldn't even be healthy if it was her own biological son.
Yeah.
Another factor to consider was that Charla had recently changed her hair and gotten a new car, and it's believed that that may have confused Travis.
I don't know about that because he was so fucking intelligent with other stuff.
It seems a little bit grasping at straws to me, but we'll talk about something in a minute, and it might make a bit more sense as a factor at least. So after his death, Travis's head was taken in for tests, and the results were negative for rabies, so we can rule that out. A toxicology report did reveal the presence of Xanax in his system.
She was giving him Xanax?
Yes, but Sandra was honest about this and she told the police at the time. I'm not saying that makes it okay, but at least she was forthcoming with the information.
Yeah.
So, Xanax. If the Xanax did have a similar adverse effect to what it can with humans, we're looking at symptoms like confusion, mania, hallucinations, and irritability. And if that's the case, I think we have our answer.
I'd say that's so because, like, our genetics, our DNA is it 99.8%?
Well, like we said about the hair and the car thing, when I read that, I was like, it's a bit of a stretch. But if he's
already.
Exactly. If he's feeling the effects of a drug and confusion, mania, hallucinations, irritability, any of those things or combined, it's not looking great. And a small thing that could have triggered him. And we know he was obviously, his behaviour was somewhat erratic or different to how he normally would for her to have been giving him the Xanax. She said that she had actually basically spiked his tea. Since the attack and her recovery, Charla has been very vocal in her support of stricter regulations in regards to exotic pets. I'm not surprised.
Like, and it's more common than you think. I remember I was watching some documentary, and they were in this neighborhood in Texas, and it was literally like on this whole road. I'd say like 90% of the houses, they had like tigers, cheetahs, lions, crocodiles as pets. And it's like, why? Why? Like,
yeah. No, I remember watching Cribs years ago, and it was one of the lads from Good Charlotte, I believe. He like went to the back garden of his home and he had a tiger or something chained up, and it's like, you think you're fucking deadly? What the fuck are you doing? That'll kill you. As for where Charla is now, she now lives on her own. She does have someone who comes to assist her Monday to Friday, but she still maintains a huge amount of independence. She said, "I've always been independent. As far as the help, I have just what I need." When speaking about her surgeries and the transplants that did not take, she said, "The study is not a failure. It's a success. They've learned so much from all of my testing." I just fucking love her.
Yeah.
She's got a good sense of humour and she's so fucking positive. Like,
I was just about to say positive.
Yeah, like something horrific happened to her and she's still like, yeah, but the doctors and scientists are still learning from this. They're going to further it and it's going to be useful for the next person.
Yeah.
Like, she's fucking deadly. And speaking of her sense of humour, apparently when someone goes up to Charla and is like, "Oh my God, you look so great, you look fantastic," all this shit, her response is quite often, "Yeah, I've had some work done." She's fucking great crack, isn't she? Now, back to the more serious side of it. Charla filed a lawsuit against her former friend and employer for $50 million. This was later settled for $4 million.
$4 million. It's not enough, is it?
When you factor in, obviously, the pain and suffering, but all of her medical expenses and further expenses for her to have care and assistance.
Yeah.
Like,
to transfer at home
Mm-hmm.
to make it accessible.
As for Sandra, she passed away in 2010 from a ruptured aortic aneurysm at the age of 72. And Charla clearly does have some compassion for Sandra. She describes Sandra as a troubled woman who maybe has some peace now.
Bigger woman than me.
Yeah. I do not blame her at all for suing her, obviously. But it's still nice to hear her being like, look, this wasn't someone who was in the right space. And it was said of Sandra that after all this happened and she lost Travis, she kind of became a bit more reclusive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which not only was she kind of on her own now, but I don't know, how were people behaving towards her after this happened? It's just a very sad story of, you know, this all could have been avoided had he been in the proper environment and cared for in the right way. And unfortunately, Travis's mother, Susie, met a similar fate to that of her son. In 2001, Susie was shot and killed after she had escaped from her sanctuary. And that's the case of Travis the Chimp and the brutal attack on Charla Nash. And how don't trust Connie's compound. Seems to be a hell of a lot of incidents that have come out of that place.
I no longer want a chimp as my best man.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Thought they were safe.
Only the other day I actually seen something come up. It was Rashida Jones talking about when she had previously met Bubbles. Remember Bubbles, the chimp, Michael Jackson's pet chimp? Yeah. So when she was a child, she was bitten by Bubbles. And this is what she said. She goes, "It was my fault." And then she kind of paused and continues and goes, "Well, no, it's not my fault. I'm not the one who put a chimpanzee in overalls and a diaper." I mean, yeah. Like, yes, don't antagonise the animals. Don't have your dogs barking at them and what have you. But why is the chimp sleeping in your bed or what have you, you know?
Well, I hope she's alright. Hope she's managing. Can't be easy in the house on your own, blind with no hands.
Blind with no hands?
Yeah, because she can't even, like, feel her way around. She can't put her hands out. So, we started off with an animal. The case was an animal. So is that oddity an animal?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. For our oddity today, we are going to talk about a man named Benjamin Schreiber.
Okay. Is he an actor?
No.
Oh.
In 2015, a 62-year-old man by the name of Benjamin Schreiber was admitted to hospital after he went into septic shock after complications due to kidney stones. While in hospital, Benjamin temporarily died, but he was able to be revived using a combination of heparin and adrenaline. No idea if I'm pronouncing that right.
Adrenaline's right.
Oh, thank you. Now, the interesting thing about this story is that old Benji was, at the time of his ailment, serving a life sentence for murder after he had beaten a man to death with the handle of a pickaxe in 1996.
Okay, so back to prison.
Exactly. After he'd finished receiving his treatment for sepsis, Benjamin was brought back to prison, and I tell you, he was not happy about this.
Why? He wanted to die because he got a life sentence.
Benjamin argued that since he had briefly been departed, that he had finished his life sentence and that keeping him in prison was illegal.
Fuck off. Fuck off.
He also claimed that he had been revived against his wishes. See, the thing, I don't agree with Benji here, yeah? I'm not saying he's right, but on the technicality of the situation.
No.
No?
He's got the same... Is this America?
Of course it's America.
So he's got the same social security number?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no death certificate, there's only a birth certificate. Mm-hmm. So there's no technicality about it.
But technically...
No.
He had served a sentence for, you know, for that of his natural life. Technically.
So did it work?
No, absolutely not. The courts weren't having any of it. They told him, Schreiber is either still alive, in which case he must remain in prison, or he is actually dead, in which case this appeal is moot. You can't say any fairer than that, can you? Pick one. Pick one, lads.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, you know, if you're dead, well then it doesn't matter if you're in prison. Just stop serving the meals.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, there you go. How's that grab you? You gotta admire his moxie.
Do you?
No.
No.
It's interesting. Like, it's kind of like such a reach, but I mean, he may as well have gone for it. What else was he going to do? He's serving life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old Benji. Thank you so much for listening. Find us on Patreon, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. If you have a case suggestion, or maybe even your own story, email us at mortalmusingspodcast@gmail.com.